Under the Gospel Music House and Museum, we have many contributors that are making this all possible. My name is Savon Kelly, and today I am blessed to have two of the grassroots angels here with me today.
My name is Daphne Edwards.
My name is Petria McKelvey. I'm the CEO and founder of Precision Medical Billing, which was founded in 1995. And we have several other businesses under the umbrella, My Clear Visit. We have an institute where we teach, but those are the businesses that I represent today.
Nice. Now, Daphne, can you give us a little background on your education and your career?
Wow. Let's see. I am a retiree, and I'm not doing anything quite as exciting as what you're doing at this time, but I retired from AT&T Telephone Company back in 2007, where I was an executive director over merger and integrations. Then for several years I worked for TXU Energy, and I did real estate. I was trying to decide if I needed to retire at some point. And in 2016 I finally retired, and in 2019 I became a chicken farmer. So.
Interesting. And how has your career and your education helped you to develop leaders in your own life?
Oh, I've been so fortunate. I had so many folks that helped me, and I learned something from each one of the people who helped me. And throughout my career at the telephone company, as a manager and going up the ranks at the company, we always had an opportunity to develop people, to teach them about decision making, to help them learn to be leaders and to understand that leading is not always pulling, but sometimes it's pushing and sometimes it's gently guiding from the side.
Yes.
I went to school here in the Houston area, elementary, junior high, high school, but I graduated from Dallas Baptist University in Dallas, Texas.
Petria, you are an entrepreneur. How has that helped you to develop leaders in your life?
I believe mine is more from me watching my dad. My father's a minister, has been a pastor for over 50 years. Mm-hmm. And when I really think about it and come back to it, and I look at him as a servant leader. He's the most humblest man I know. But I think that looking at him over the years, just in the pulpit and leading the way that he leads, we have over almost 50 employees throughout my 3 different companies, and I try to be a servant leader. Yes. You know, and like Daphne said, you know, it's not always pulling. Sometimes it's pushing, and sometimes it's just motivating and being able to motivate someone to see what their giftedness is in them, right? So you serving them and see what they need and what they have inside them that they didn't even know that they had.
Right.
And I think that just wells me up inside too. And it's just a humbling experience that God has put us in the position that we are to be able to be leaders, to develop other leaders.
So tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how you got started.
I got started back in 1995. I had my son in November of 94 and cried because I didn't want to go back to work. So I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I had no idea what that meant. Mm-hmm. It was this, you know, my journey truly is God-driven journey. And so where I was working at the time was a female named Roberta Wright, and I came in her office crying and said, I don't want to leave my baby at home. And she basically said, okay, go down to the courthouse and get a DBA. And I said, a DBA, what is that? You know, This is in 1995, January 1995. And basically she guided me. She guided me and told me what to do. And then really that's where it started. It didn't start from me saying I wanted to have a multi-million-dollar company. No, it started from me really wanting to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right. And what do you do now? Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurship.
So right now what we do is we champion for healthcare providers. Most healthcare providers, physicians, I don't care who they are, most clinicians do not like talking about money. Mm-hmm. They took an oath. They are very passionate about their patients and making sure their patients are taken care of, but they don't know how to navigate insurance. And insurance companies, I call them bullies, but they have created it that way for it to be complex and complicated just to deny claims. I say they collect premiums, but they deny claims.
Right.
And so we are champions for those healthcare providers because we fight insurance companies every day.
Right.
That is what we do to make sure that the healthcare providers are paid right, paid well for all the great services that they do.
Right. And I see you're very passionate about that. What duties within your work give you the greatest sense of fulfillment?
The duties, I would say, is finding lost money. I love to do what we call audits or revenue recoveries because it's reported that trillions of dollars are left out there by healthcare providers because they don't know how to get it.
Right.
They don't know how to collect it. They really don't know what to do. They don't know what they don't know, is what I say.
Right.
And a lot of times we go in and we help them and we find that money that they never knew was even there. And that's how, when we get a client, they're really a client for life.
Right.
Because we go in and do something that they just didn't even know was there, and it's just a blessing. And so that's one of the main duties that I love about what we do.
Awesome. And Daphne, I know you're retired now, but looking back on your career, what duties within your career gave you the greatest sense of fulfillment?
Well, when I started with the telephone company, I was an operator. And when I first started, it was just a job. And after about 4.5, 5 years, it became a career because I knew I was going to work. And the beauty of being in corporate America, especially with, it was SBC, AT&T, is you had the opportunity to be just about anything you wanted to be. And I had a burning desire to lead and to motivate. And a year and a half after I went to the business office, I was promoted into management. I was given a group of 8 people, and we had a job to do.
Right.
We had to place orders for customers. We collected the money. We did a job that has now been divided into 3 or 4 jobs was one job.
Wow.
And when you start developing people and training folks and teaching them how to do their job, it's exciting. You know, you wake up one day and you just realize when it all comes together and you see somebody and they have a sense of fulfillment. They're excited about what they're doing, and then they get energized and they start looking at, okay, I can be more. And once I got into management, I had the goal of, okay, I'm going to make it to the second level, the third level, the executive level. And each step of the way, I always look to see who is doing what I want to do. And I started emulating those folks. And then I would look at people who were working with me and helping them to figure out, okay, why are you here? Are you here just to collect a paycheck, or is this a career? And if they said it was a career and they were willing to put forth the effort and the work, I was there to help them.
Awesome.
One of the most exciting things I think I ever did is I sent 10 non-management employees to the assessment center, and all 10 of them successfully passed the assessment center, which normally had a 50% dropout rate. And all 10 of them were promoted into management. And some of those went from first line to second line and above. And when you see them later in life and they remember that you're the one that helped them or you guided them along the way, that to me is one of my greatest.
Yeah, it's all about passing the torch.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you get connected to the Gospel House and Museum, and what sparked your interest to give?
So, first of all, I've known Mike for probably more years than he would like for me to admit. But yeah, our history is so great. It's so wonderful. And you know, when you take it and you've got this part of your history, that when you think about the church in the Black community, it's kind of where everything starts.
Right.
I learned how to speak, you know, at the church when we would have, a Christmas program or an Easter program. That was my first opportunity to stand before an audience and speak. When you go back to slavery times and the songs that they sung, they were message songs. They weren't just praising God, but they were educating each other, and they were helping one another go from one part of the country to hopefully freedom. And we're in an environment now where so many people want to erase our history, or they want to rewrite our history. And if we don't stand up, and if we don't take the opportunity to document our history and then put it out there for the people coming after us to see, that's important to me. That's important for my kids, for my grandkids, for all the people that I know, is that they understand what you see today is not where we've always been. Folks had to work really hard. People died. People struggled. Most of your leaders in the Black community, they got their start in the church. Most of your popular singers, whether they are R&B or gospel, where did they start? In the church. And it's important that we help folks understand the significance that the Black church has had and will always continue to have in the lives of Blacks.
Petria, tell us how you got connected to the Gospel Museum and what kind of pushed you to give.
So I met Mr. McKay. I wanted him to be a judge for a competition, a choir competition we were doing. And that was my first experience, or really hearing about it was from him. He told me about it. And this was only a couple of months ago, and I just fell in love because my families are singers. I can't sing. I just make a joyful noise to me myself. But I come from a family of singers, from my dad, my aunts, my cousins. Everybody sings in my family. So I love songs. It ushers in praises. So, song is just special to me. I'll be around my house just singing all the time. And I think it's something very, very special about songs and singing and ushering in God's praises. And so when I learned about it, I'm like, oh my God. And even history, I would say back in high school, I didn't like history because to me, it wasn't my history. I wasn't learning my history. And we know nowadays, it still wasn't our history that they was teaching us. So having the museum and us being able to tell our own story, right? And not letting somebody else write our story for us is very important to me. And so the cause and what he's doing, I'm like, okay, I want to be involved. What do I need to do? What do I have to do to be involved? It's a great mission.
Yes. And in being a contributor, what do you look forward to the most about the museum? What do you hope to see and learn?
Well, just see and learn. That's what I want to do. I want to see and learn because I know there's a lot that I don't know. I know it's a lot from the past. I'm not sure how far we're going back, with the museum, but I know it's a lot that I don't know that I can learn and bring my kids with me, generations to come. That's really what I'm thinking about too, not just the here and now, but honestly, just the generations to come and what this is going to do for the generations to come.
Right. And Daphne, what do you hope to see and learn?
I see it as something that's going to be dynamic, evolving, educational. It's not only our past, but it's our present, and it'll help us to shape our future.
Yes. Why should people donate to the grassroots?
I guess the simplest way I can put it, if we don't do it, who will?
Right.
And it doesn't, a lot of times when it comes to donations, people think it has to be a whole lot. Every little bit counts. We've got to be able to shape our own narrative, tell our own story, and every dime can help us to accomplish that goal.
And Petria, you've mentioned why you donated, but why should other people donate to the grassroots?
Because it's a worthy cause. It's worth it, and it's worthy, And, God speaks to me all the time and say, it's not my money anyway. Right. He entrusts us with his money. It's his money. It's not our money. And so, you know, God speaks to us and let us know what's worthy and worthy causes to put to. And I believe this is one of the most worthiest causes that we can have today.
I agree. So I want to thank you ladies so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for your contributions. We couldn't do this without you.
We're glad to be here.
Thank you.
We're grassroots angels.
Yes, we
All
are.
right now.
Yes.
Can I get one of those?